Assalamu alaikum. Every ism, noun in Arabic, has to be treated grammatically either as masculine or feminine. There is no neutral gender in the Arabic language. So this area is a very confusing area for English-speaking students. For example, in English, I say, he is a boy, she is a girl, it is a car. So I've got access to the neutral gender, which does not exist in the Arabic language. So when we have words like, for example, waladun, a boy, bintun, a girl, we can treat them as masculine or feminine based on their natural gender. But what do we do with words like Al-Qur'an, the Qur'an, or Jannah, paradise or garden? Do we treat them as masculine or do we treat them as feminine? This area causes a major confusion for English-speaking students. In this lesson, inshallah, we're going to follow some simple steps which will help us identify the grammatical gender of every ism in the Arabic language. And particularly for Quranic Arabic study, this is absolutely essential. So let's work together, inshallah ta'ala, how to identify the grammatical gender of an ism so we can use it in the practical session in forming sentences and phrases. Let's begin. Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. Welcome, Lisaan-ul-Qur'an, easier than English, lesson number 3, the gender of an ism. The key learning outcome of this lesson is to learn how to identify the grammatical gender of an ism that we come across. And in the practical part, use that knowledge in forming sentences and descriptive phrases correctly. So let's begin in Allah's blessed name, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Let us start looking at the subject of the gender, al-jins, in Arabic. In English, we use words like she, he, it. So for example, here I'm saying she is a headmistress. So headmistress is going to be treated here as feminine. Now, I'm saying he is a headmaster. We're saying that headmaster is masculine. Now, this is easy because they're both natural genders. Headmistress refers to a real female. Headmaster refers to a real male person. When I say it is a school, in English, I'm saying the word school is being treated as neutral gender, neither masculine nor feminine. Why? Well, it does not fall into the category of being a natural gender. Now, in English, on rare occasion, an English speaker might say, my car, she is a beauty. My car, she is a beauty. Here, the car is being treated as if it is feminine, even though, of course, it is neutral. So, in rare occasion, English speakers refer to car, vehicle, boats, ships, etc. in the feminine gender. So, for example, if I said to you about the Titanic, on her maiden voyage, she hit an iceberg. So, you can see I'm treating that ship as if it is feminine. This is called grammatical treatment. In English, we have the natural gender where it is he or she, and then anything that's not natural gender, it is treated as it in the English language in normal circumstances. In Arabic, I have no neutral gender. So here are some examples. We have huwa waladun, he is a boy. Huwa rajulun, he is a man. The same word huwa I'm using with the Quran. I'm saying, for example, huwa Qur'anun, it is a Quran. So I have to use the word huwa even for words that are not naturally masculine. Take some more examples here. We have hiya bintun, she is a girl. Hiya mra'atun, she is a woman. And then I'm using hiya jannatun, it is a garden. Again, the word hiya, which means she, is being used with the word paradise, Jannah, or garden. Now you can see here there is no neutral gender, and this is what I meant. In Arabic, every ism has to be treated either as masculine or feminine, and this is why you must understand which ism is to be treated as masculine, which ism is to be treated as feminine, otherwise we will make a mess. The first division we're going to do is the division of real and non-real. Let me explain that very simply. By real, I mean that has a natural gender. The word is referred to something that has a natural gender. Naturally, it is male or female. By non-real, I mean everything else. Any noun that refers to something that does not have a natural gender. For example, table, chair, light, moon, sun, star, they do not have a natural gender. So this is the first division that we are doing. Real, haqiqi, ghayru haqiqi, non-real. So words like rajulun, man, of course will be treated as masculine because it has a natural gender. Imra'atun will be treated feminine because it has a natural gender, means woman. Waladun, boy, will be masculine, it has a natural gender. Bintun, girl, will be treated feminine because it has a natural gender. But the words like qamarun, moon, shamsun, sun, masjidun, mosque, madrasatun, school, kitabun, book, how do we treat those? Do we treat them as masculine or feminine, since we don't have that choice of the neutral gender? How do we deal with them in the Arabic language? The first and the most important rule is the rule of haqiqi. Any ism that refers to something that is naturally feminine by nature, i.e. real feminine, will always be treated as feminine, and vice versa. Any ism that refers to something that is naturally masculine, has a natural masculine gender, will be treated in the language as masculine. Please note this rule. This rule supersedes any other rule that I'm going to tell you. So if the word has a real natural gender, it will be treated as it is, irrespective of anything else that you might see with that particular word. So this is the most important rule. Reality is reality. So again, from the meaning of the word, you can easily tell waladun, boy, masculine, bintun, girl, feminine, abun, father, masculine, ummun, mother, feminine. Then we have other words like malikun, king, of course masculine, malikatun, queen, of course feminine, naqatun, female camel, of course will be treated as feminine, and jamalun, male camel, will be treated as masculine. So you can see that very easy. All you need to do is look at the meaning of the word. If it has a natural gender, it will be treated as it is. So the first and most important rule, reality is reality. If you remember that, inshallah, now we're going to deal with bulk of the words which are referring to non-real masculine or feminine. Words that do not have a natural gender, called ghayru haqiqi. Ghayru haqiqi, non-real. How do we treat those? So let's take a quick look at some non-real feminine examples. What do we mean? Qamarun, moon. Now, moon is actually treated in the Arabic language as masculine. Shamsun, sun, is treated as feminine. Masjidun is treated as masculine. Madrasatun is treated as feminine. Kitabun, book, is treated as masculine. Sayyaratun is treated as feminine. Qalamun is treated as masculine. Misru, Egypt, is treated in the language as feminine. Baytun, house, is treated as masculine. Darun, another word for house or abode, actually is treated as feminine. Word has two different words, have two similar meaning in the English language, yet one is masculine, the other is feminine. Anfun, nose, is treated as masculine. Ainun, eye, is treated as feminine. So how do we deal with words that are biologically do not have a natural gender? How do we treat them? Do we learn each word along with its meaning and its gender? Is that the best way forward? Or are there rules that we can follow to clinically identify whether that word should be treated as masculine or feminine? Leaving the real to one side, if we look at the non-real words, and there are a vast number, the scholars have given us simple steps we can follow in order to identify with high degree of precision whether that ism should be treated as masculine or feminine. That's without you having to learn a lot of Arabic. You can do that, inshallah, and we're going to do that in lesson number 3. The first point about non-real words is that by default, they'll be treated as masculine. So any non-real gender words you come across, a default position will be that it will be treated as masculine unless it falls into two categories of non-real feminine. The first one is that it has a sign at the end of the word to indicate that it is to be treated as feminine, or it falls into a category of words that the Arabs have used as feminine. So we have two subcategories of feminine, one by sign and the other by usage. So for non-real feminine words, there are two major subcategories. One is the sign, and there are 3 signs which indicate that ism is to be treated as feminine. The first one being ta marbuta. Now, ta marbuta is your prime sign of identification of a word to be feminine. Then we have also alif mamduda, and we have also alif maksura. So these are your 3 signs to indicate that word is to be treated as feminine. Otherwise, we have a small category of words which have been historically in the Arabic language treated as feminine. So 2 subgroups, sign and usage. First sign, ta marbuta. Ta marbuta is the most common sign on an ism to indicate that it is to be treated as feminine. Overwhelming majority of the words that are to be treated as feminine will have ta marbuta at the end. So let's look at some examples. We have madrasatun, a school. Kabiratun, big, an adjective word. Kabiratun, which is big, feminine. For masculine equivalent of that will be kabirun. Kabirun, big, and kabiratun, female, big. Muslimatun, a Muslim, female. Muslimun, a male Muslim, which we've already seen. Ghurfatun, a room. Sayyaratun, a car. Qaryatun, a village. Salatun, a prayer. Kalimatun, a word. Suratun, a surah of Qur'an. Ayatun, an ayah of Qur'an. Niyatun, intention. Al-Fatihatu, name of the first chapter of the Qur'an, also means the opening. Jannatun, garden or paradise. There are many words in the Arabic language which will have ta marbuta at the end, which will tell us that this word is to be treated as feminine in the Arabic language. As noted already, you'll have many words in Arabic which will have a masculine and a feminine equivalent. Now, the main category of these are like descriptive type of words. So titles and descriptions and that kind of thing, there will be masculine and a feminine equivalent of that. So, for example, we have the word pious, salihun, a female pious person would be called salihatun. A patient person, sabirun, a male person. A female patient person will be called sabiratun. We have worshipper, abidun, a female person would be called abidatun. Mu'minun, a believer, a female believer will be referred to as mu'minatun. So please note that you got to use the correct gender with the correct type of words, and there are many words which will have a masculine and feminine equivalent. How do we convert a masculine word to feminine? It's very easy in the Arabic language. Now, we are going to use the Muslim word as our template. We know the word Muslim means a Muslim, and it can appear in 3 different ways depending on the Arab. Muslimun, rafa. Musliman, nasab. Muslimin, jar. So what steps do we need to take to convert them to the feminine form? Now, it's very easy. The first step is whatever's at the end of the word, you will put a fatha on the last letter. So this will be crossed off and you'll put a fatha on the last letter. Then what you do is you add the ta marbuta, which is the sign of something being feminine. So you'll add the ta marbuta at the end. Third step is simply to put whatever harakat you need on the last letter. So for example here, muslimun will become muslimatun, and musliman will become muslimatan, and muslimin will become muslimatin. Please note, very simple step. Put the fatha on the last letter, add the ta marbuta, and whatever i'rab it is, you add that at the end. So muslimun, muslimatun, musliman, muslimatan, muslimin, muslimatin. And that's how you convert those words that have a masculine and feminine equivalent very easily in the Arabic language. And this will follow all the way through, inshallah ta'ala. Very simple rule. So that's the only step. Remember, you can't touch anything before the last letter. That will remain exactly as it is. Just to illustrate the point, what I'd like you to do is, using the steps I mentioned earlier, I would like you to convert these words from masculine to feminine. So you have kabirun, write the feminine equivalent. Saghirin, write the feminine equivalent. Qasirun, write the feminine equivalent. Munafiqun, hypocrite, write the feminine equivalent. Salihun, pious, write the feminine equivalent. And mushrikatun, I would like you to go backwards and give the masculine equivalent from the rules that I've told you earlier. So pause the video and please take an opportunity to do this exercise in your notebook, and inshallah I'll go through the answers with you. So let's do the exercise. Kabirun, masculine. The feminine of that will be kabira, and then I put the ta marbuta, kabiratun. Munafiqun means hypocrite, so the feminine equivalent of that will be munafiqatun. Saghirin is in the jar status, I'm sure you can tell. The feminine version of that will be saghiratin. Okay, salihun, pious. The feminine version of that will be salihatun. Salihun, salihatun. Qasirun means short. The feminine equivalent of that will be qasiratun. Mushrikatun, the masculine equivalent of that will be mushrikun. All I've done is work backwards from the steps I told you earlier. I hope this exercise is easy. Please note this. Please carry it out because you're going to have to do a lot of words to form sentences correctly and translate correctly. So you need to be able to recognize whether the word is masculine and feminine, and if they have an equivalent to each other, you need to convert it correctly. Otherwise, you will not be able to understand the simple sentences. So please carry out this exercise. Inshallah, you will find it very beneficial. Please note, you cannot convert every word from masculine to feminine and vice versa. There are certain words which are names of things, and that's it. They will not be masculine, feminine equivalent. They have that name, and that name is either masculine or feminine, depends on the rules of the Arabic language. So they take the first example, ayatun. Ayatun is a unit of Quran. There is no masculine equivalent to that. The other word is niyatun, intention. It is a name of a thing. There is no masculine equivalent for that. Qaryatun, a village. It's the name of a noun given to a village. The word for village in Arabic, again, there is no masculine equivalent. Qaryatun is feminine, and that's it. Qalamun is another example. Qalamun is the name of a thing which I'm holding in my hand, a pen. There is no feminine equivalent to a pen because it's the name of a thing. It is not a descriptive word. So just as a hint, you cannot do that with every type of word, but of course, inshallah ta'ala, with descriptive and other types, you will be able to convert it from masculine to feminine and vice versa. Once you've learned the categories of nouns, you'll have no problems with this subject. But for now, I just wanted to give you that caution, just in case you wanted to go and convert everything vice versa. Almost all the words with ta marbuta in the Arabic language are to be treated grammatically as feminine. However, there are some exceptions. Why are these exceptions? They are really not exceptions as such. They are part of the rule I told you, number one. If the word refers to something real, gender as male or female, you treat it as it is. You neither look for a sign, nor do you look for a category. So let's look at the examples we got here, which are said to be exceptions. Usamatu. Usama is the name of a male person. Muawiyatu. Muawiya is the name of a male person. Hamza, name of a male person. Talha, name of a male person. Khalifa, name given to a title or usually used for male persons in the Arabic language. All of these refer to something that has a natural gender, and that is masculine. Therefore, these words will be treated as masculine. So we really haven't broken any rules, but just be aware there are some words, names of some males in the Arabic language that have ta marbuta, and that name is to be treated masculine. Why? Reality is always reality. So they're not really exceptions as such, but just I wanted to make you alert. You'll come across very few words that refer to male persons, but they have ta marbuta at the end. Please note that they are to be treated as masculine. Alif mamduda. Alif mamduda is really an alif followed by what's called a protective hamza. It's always at the end of a word, and it's called the elongated alif. And it is another sign of something being feminine. Please don't worry too much about this one and the next one. We're going to look at them later when we convert one category to another. For now, just note that as a sign of feminine. Of course, like before, there are exceptions. One example of an exception is Zakaria. Of course, you know that that is a name of a male person and the name of a prophet also. So you have some examples here. Sahra'u, desert. Darra'u, harm. Bayda'u, white. Hamra'u, red. So these are examples of feminine words that have alif mamduda at the end. Alif followed by a hamza. Again, is to do with certain categories, and we will deal with that later, inshallah. Our third sign is alif maksura. Alif maksura is quite confusing for students because actually most cases it is written like a ya, dotless ya, dotless ya. So this is called in Arabic shortened alif, and it is a sign of an ism being feminine. Again, is dealing with certain categories which we will deal with later. Please note, like the others, there will be exceptions. Again, very famous names: Musa, Isa, Yahya. Of course, these are names of prophets and common names used by Muslims. So we have examples here: Husna, good or beautiful; Bushra, good news; Sughra, smaller or smallest; Kubra, greater or older; Ad-dunya. The word dunya is also feminine in the Arabic language. Please note this word, very commonly used in the Quran, 115 times. So we need to learn this word. It is feminine in the Arabic language. And alif maksura primarily appears as a ya at the end, dotless ya, but also can come as a normal alif on certain circumstances. So this is your third sign of an ism to be feminine in the Arabic language. So again, the first grouping is the signs, and now we're going to look at usage. Now there are words which don't have any signs to indicate it is feminine, but certain categories of words which the Arabs historically have used as feminine in the language, and let's look at those. So feminine by usage, the first category, body parts in pairs. So human body parts, those that are in pairs, are treated in the Arabic language as feminine. So yadun, hand, aynun, eye, qadamun, foot, rijlun, leg, dhira'un, arm, udhunun, ears. These all parts of body that you have in pairs, so they will be treated as feminine. So examples of, for example, anfun, nose, you only have one, so it is masculine. Ra'sun, head, you only have one, so it is treated as masculine. Lisanun, tongue, you only have one, I hope, and that is treated as masculine. So it's primarily body parts in pairs, very rare exceptions, but primarily it is body parts in pairs that are treated in Arabic as feminine. Again, you note in these words there are no signs, it's just a category of isms that are treated as feminine. Category number 2 is very important. Overwhelmingly, all the places mentioned in the Quran will be treated as feminine. So cities, towns, countries, and some tribes are also treated as feminine in the Arabic language. So Misr, Egypt, London, London, Makkah, Makkah, Asham, Syria, Arum, Rome. These will all be treated as feminine plus other place names also. Now there are 6 exceptions to this rule. I know in the Arabic language there are probably more, but these are the only 6, and we are very unlikely to come across them in Quranic Arabic study. But normal Arabic, for example, as-Sudan, the country, Lebanon, Lebanon, al-Iraq, Iraq, al-Urdun, Jordan, al-Yemen, Yemen, and al-Maghrib. And these are 6 countries of the Arabic countries which are treated as masculine in the language historically. The rest of the places are treated as feminine. So please note those, inshallah, for your notes. Number 3, names or nouns given to wind, wine, and fire. So Jahannam, Rih, Sarsar, Khamar, Nar. These are names given to wind, fire, hellfire, that kind of thing. These words are treated as feminine. So that's your third category. That leaves some miscellaneous words, words that don't have any of the signs and don't belong to the categories I've mentioned. And there are very few. There really isn't much more than what you see here, probably in a handful. But these are the ones you most likely come across in your Arabic study. And that's why I'm giving them to you here, so you can keep them in your notes. So Harbun, war. Darun, house. Remember, Baytun is masculine, but Darun is treated as feminine in the Arabic language. Nafsun, self. Please note this word is used in the Quran. Shamsun, sun, is feminine. Please note this word also. Ka'sun, cup. Ardun, earth. Bi'run, well. Dalwun, bucket. So these are the few handful of words which are miscellaneous category. The 5th category is slightly weird, so I'm going to try and explain to you as briefly as I can. Inshallah, we're going to have dedicated lessons on these later on. Now, everything that has a name, so that's what nouns are, they give names to things. Now, if we divide that into 2 groups, like the Arab grammarians do, everything has a name. Any noun that is referring to angels, jinns, or humans are called rational, aqil. Everything else is called ghayru aqil, non-rational. So everything, chair, table, books, sun, moon, stars, everything that is not jinns, angels, and humans will be treated as non-rational, ghayru aqil. Their plurals in the Arabic language are treated as singular feminine. Please don't worry about it. Just note it for now. Inshallah, when the lessons come, I will explain how that is happening in the Arabic language. Soon your head will get around it. But that's the reality of the Arabic language, and this is the 5th category of isms in the Arabic language which are treated as feminine, grammatically speaking. Again, this 5th one is normally not noted in the books. Later on, when you get to advanced level, is taught. But I wanted to introduce it right on because it's quite commonly used in the Quran and we need to use it. And inshallah ta'ala, very soon, once we've completed a little bit more on Arab and grammar, we'll start using this rule also in the Arabic language, and it will become clear at that stage. I wanted to share with you one screen where I map out the basic rules related to identification of an ism, whether it should be treated masculine or feminine. So inshallah ta'ala, please feel free to take a copy of this and use it inshallah ta'ala. If you can screen print it, that'll be great. Otherwise, you are welcome to redesign. I'm sure you can do a far better job than I have done. I'm no graphic artist. So the first principle is that in Arabic, every ism is treated masculine, mudhakkarun, or feminine, mu'annathun. There is no neutral gender in the Arabic language. The next step is to divide them into two camps, the first being real. If the word has a natural gender, be it male or female, it will be treated as it is. There is no other questions asked beyond that. So after that, you will not look for signs or categories. If you see an ism that is has a natural gender, it will be treated as it is. Example, boy, girl. Third group is your bulk of the words you're going to come across, and they're called غير حقيقي, non-real. The default position of non-real is that they will be treated as masculine unless they fall into two categories of feminine. The first category being having a sign at the end of the word, and the second category, a group of words or categories of words that the Arabs have historically used as feminine. So as far as sign is concerned, there are only three. Ta marbuta, example, jannatun, paradise, kabiratun, big, madrasatun, school. Alif mamduda, sahra'u, desert, sauda'u, black, safra'u, yellow. And then we have alif maqsura, and we have here again three examples for you. Kubra, big, of course, feminine. Sughra, small, feminine. Husna, beautiful. So again, note these are the three signs. The most important one is ta marbuta. Again, please note how I converted from masculine to feminine. Very important rule for you to go through, inshallah. As far as usage is concerned, the first category is body parts in pairs. Some examples here to given on screen for you also to help you remember. Yadun, hand, aynun, eye, etc. Then we have names of places. Misr, Egypt, Asham, Syria, Arum, Rome. So names of places, Makkah is another example, will be treated as feminine in the Arabic language. Wine, wind, and fire. Few examples. Rihun, wind. Khamrun, wine. Narun, fire. Jahannam, hellfire. So these words will be treated as feminine. And then we have some miscellaneous words. Please refer back to the previous slides where we went through them, and only a few, inshallah ta'ala, you're likely to come across, and they're all given to you in the previous screen sheet. Example, Shamsun, sun. Nafsun, self. Darun, house. Ardun, earth. Dalun, bucket. And the last weird category, broken plurals of non-aqil, which is non-rational beings, are treated not only feminine, but as singular feminine. That's all you need to go through Arabic, inshallah ta'ala, as far as the gender, grammatical gender of an ism is concerned. That's all you need, inshallah ta'ala. Please make a note of this, redraw the design of yourself, make some notes, and inshallah ta'ala, we will fly through Arabic with this information and the stuff I've shared with you as far as definiteness is concerned in the previous lesson. I hope, inshallah, that those two notes will be comprehensive enough for you. So let's summarize our four properties that we've got so far. Alhamdulillah, previous lessons, ta'rif, tankir, definiteness, al-jins now in this lesson, lesson number 3, and number, inshallah, we said we will carry on with in the forthcoming lessons. I'rab, we introduced already in the first lesson. So ta'rif, tankir, definite, please remember there are 7, 4 of which I asked you to recall. Everything else is indefinite. Al-jins, now I've given you a clear roadmap on how to identify the grammatical gender of an ism. You've got no option either to treat it as mudhakkarun, masculine, or mu'annathun, feminine. Number, we will deal with in the next lessons, inshallah ta'ala, singular, dual, and plural. I'rab, please remember, muslimun, rafa, musliman, nasab, muslimin, jar. And that's all you really need at this stage to move forward in Arabic, inshallah. Alhamdulillah, that's all I need to share with you regarding the subject of grammatical gender of an ism. It's more than enough information for you to continue to study Arabic, even to beyond intermediate, even to advanced level, is all you need to build your solid foundation. I hope and pray the notes have made sense, and I hope and pray, inshallah ta'ala, you've taken some notes and done the practical actions I've asked you to do. Inshallah, very soon I will upload a practical session related to this lesson. For now, Please note what we have discussed in this lesson so you can move forward in the next lesson where we're going to discuss the 14 pronouns which are repeated in the Quran 1400 times. Again, Jazakumullah khairan for taking part in the lesson. I hope and pray, inshallah ta'ala, that every single second that you spend in studying Quranic Arabic, you'll be rewarded for both in this dunya and in the akhirah. May Allah grant us all forgiveness and His mercy. Jazakumullah khairan for now. I look forward to seeing you at the next session. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.